Sky Squad, we are back in the building with none other than reality TV king, Carlos King. He is here to talk about not only the new season of Love and Marriage Huntsville, but I got some questions to ask him that I just been dying to know. So he is promising to be as open as he possibly can. And so we're going to get it right into it. How are you doing today?
I'm blessed, highly favored. God is good. And we have the rest of the season premiering for Love and Marriage Huntsville, which I'm happy about. And Belle Collective is just killing in the ratings. And I'm so happy with that show. So it's a great time for me. I'm very happy.
Also, congratulations on your podcast. Like, first of all, I don't even really wait for you to post about it no more because I'm like, okay, Wednesday, Friday, when I get up at like 6 or 7, I'm going to the gym. I'll go ahead and turn it on. I ain't even waiting no more because I know it's coming. So, congratulations on those because those have been some insightful interviews.
No, you know what's so funny, Richie? I have been asked to do a podcast for years. And I never thought the time was right. Clearly, I was building the company and I'm still am. But I feel like my voice matters now because of the audience that I've been able to build over the years. And I'm also at the point in my career where I don't give a fuck what people say, think. I don't care. It's my opinion. And what I've realized with the podcast is a lot of people love it. A lot of celebrities subscribe to it, listen to it, and there's people out there who love to bring my name up in a negative way. And then it hit me that it's one thing to be a viewer of the show and have an opinion because you don't know everything, so it's nice to battle each other. But when Carlos King speaks, and people have said the king has spoken and it is what it is, I realize that it bothers some reality audiences because they're like, ugh, he's saying this, and obviously he's an expert and he's experienced, and we're just at home watching it, but he's actually in the business. And because he gives an opinion on something that is facts, it makes them mad. So I love it. I love it.
They was mad at you about putting Danielle Staub on that top 10 list.
I know. So was Giselle Bryant. She said, why wasn't Kyle Richards on the list and Danielle Staub was? And I said, this is when, and this is no shade to Giselle, who I love, but this what separates the viewer from the expert, right? So my explanation to her was, you're on the outside looking in terms of Danielle being on for 2 seasons. What you don't understand is Danielle was the main story for the entire first season of the show. And because I was a part of that producing team seasons 1 and 2, I know for a fact that without Danielle, in my opinion, the Real Housewives of New Jersey would not have been renewed because nothing was happening without Danielle.
Listen, even that was probably one of the only franchises that could work with just 4 cast members that second season.
Yes. Yes. It was crazy. It was that opening main title shot of them like it was like it was very sad. It was 4 housewives because Dina came on and said, I'm only here for 2 weeks and I'm out. And that was funny. So yeah, that was it.
But that season was lit.
It
Okay,
was
that's all I
everything.
gotta say.
Baby, it was
All you
everything.
needed was 4 that season. I was like, what? That was good. That was
Yes.
some good TV. But never mind that. We gotta talk about Love and Marriage Huntsville. Can you explain? Because people was mad. Okay, they was not. I felt like they was mad at me when they found out that, oh, we're gonna leave you guys on this cliffhanger. Okay, and y'all gonna have to wait until September to get the rest of the episodes. Can you talk about, from a producer's standpoint, why a show? Because this is not the only show that's done this. I've seen it happen on VH1. I've seen it happen with other shows where there's an A and a B part to a season. Why that happens and sort of what is the logic behind it?
So some networks nowadays they break up a season in half, right? So the example of Love and Marriage Huntsville, we had 30 episodes this season, which is a lot of episodes. So instead of having it on for 30 weeks, the network made a decision to split them in half. So we started with 15 episodes, had a 2-month break, and now we're back in airing, and you're going to see the rest of the 15 episodes, including a 2-part reunion. So they do that because when they order big orders, thanks to the audience for making the shows a hit, they like to spread the love a little bit, not give you all at once. And I think it's pretty genius because it allows you to miss the show without waiting an entire year for it to come back.
I think when you put it into that context, it's really smart.
Yes.
We're typically used to seeing, I think, networks order, for like, let's say a housewife show, because that's what a lot of us watch, right? We're typically used to seeing them order between 16 to maybe 18 anyway. So I feel like this 2-month break actually is it's actually more genius now that I think about it, because versus again 30, because 30 is a large order.
Yeah. And again, it allows you to miss the show, because when you watch other shows and you have heard this and I've heard this, a lot of them feel like, oh my God, this season has been on forever. Wrap it up. How much more can I take? Where's the reunion? And I think a lot of shows should take a page out of that, because watching a series for more than 20 weeks at a time, not all, but some of them can use a break.
Okay. And I have been saying it too. I would prefer a shorter season that is action packed from start to finish than a season that has like filler episodes. If there's nothing there, then don't try to make something there. We, the audience, don't want that. So I can appreciate this method. And speaking about this cast specifically, I'm going to ask a very honest question, because I feel like I can feel it. And so if I can feel it, I know that the audience can feel it. And I want to know what you think about it and where it goes. It almost feels like Melody's on a journey. It feels like Martell is on a journey. And it feels like the rest of the cast is here. and it's not that they're not on a journey, right? But the rest of the cast is casting. That you know what I'm saying? Like they're
going through... the two the other two couples, the Scotts 1.0 and 2.0, they're related. So yes, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and so it feels like, how do you ensure that it doesn't become disjointed?
That's a very good question. And that's been a conversation that I've had with the cast, that I continue to have, with also respecting where people are in their lives, because my formula that has worked for the past 15 years of me producing has been to follow the reality. And one of the things that I told my production team when Melody filed for divorce, I said, you have to give her space. You have to allow her to be on this journey. And there's going to be moments she wants to be around the collective. And there's going to be moments she wants to isolate herself. And I said, you have to give her that, because when a woman goes through a divorce, it's top 2 or 3 at the most, one of the most devastating moments in their lives. And I learned that by producing The Real Housewives of Atlanta season 3 and 4, when Nene was divorcing Greg, may he rest in peace. And I was this young producer who was like, just used to Nene always giving you everything. And when Nene filed for divorce, something happened in her personality to where she wasn't as present. And she literally, I'm laughing at it now, looking back on it, Nene would ignore me, not answer her phone calls. We would show up to Nene's house. She wouldn't answer the door. And I remember being so upset with her. What are you doing? We're paying you all this money. And then it took a female executive who said to me, you are a man. You don't know what it's like for a woman to go through divorce. You need to give Nene her space. And what you're doing to her by like constantly calling her and texting her is not making things better. You're actually making things worse. And that was the most beautiful thing that this woman could have said to me, because it allowed me to see Nene as a human being having a human experience and allowing her the space she needed. So I made sure that my team knew to approach that with Melody. And you have seen Melody, like you said, on this journey. You see Martell on this journey. And that's because for the first time ever, you're seeing a couple go through a divorce on a reality show of this magnitude. Typically, when you watch Housewives, for example, when Cynthia and Peter were going through a divorce, you heard it through Cynthia's side.
Mm-hmm.
And then Peter was off honey by the next season. Because
right.
Once a housewife divorces a husband, child, he rides off to the sunset and you don't see him again.
Out.
And on Love and Marriage Huntsville, I told Martell, because he was like, am I off the show because we're having a divorce? And I said, no, people want to see your journey too. My hope is that when you watch the next 15 episodes, you're going to see what happens when two people who divorce each other are working to amend their friendship. And when you see the premiere in the next 14 episodes, you're going to see a very interesting side of Martell and Melody attempting to co-parent, but also attempting to get back to their friendship. And a lot of ups and downs happens during that.
I would never say it to her. I would never say it to him. I might say it to him, but I wouldn't. I don't think I could bring myself to say it to her. But it still always feels like on camera, like they have some type of like chemistry, even though they don't want to. Like on the screen, you can't help. I don't know. This is just how I feel as a viewer. But do you? Maybe you can't comment on this, but is there a feeling of that when they're filming? Like, because on the screen it could be the music y'all playing, it could be the way y'all cut the scene. I don't know, but that's how it feels to me.
You know what's so funny, Richie? I said this to the both of them. I will always say this. Listen, I've learned through watching Oprah Winfrey show many years ago, her talk show, and she had this Live Your Best Life segment. And she had this author named Gary Zukav who wrote this book called The Seat of the Soul. Long story short, he said, as people, we don't have just one soulmate. We have several. He said, you have millions of soulmates. And Oprah was like, what? We were taught all this time you have like one soulmate.
Right.
I know for a fact that Martell and Melody are soulmates. They have this chemistry that is undeniable, which is why so many people want them back together, including me. I was one of those people, like, I want them back together. So when you see them together, there's this chemistry, because at the end of the day, regardless of the fact that they're divorced, they are still soulmates. And courtesy of having 4 children, they're soulmates for life. Not saying that that's going to be Melody's only soulmate. So I say that to say, when you see them together, it's not the music. The music enhances the feeling that we're all having inside. Because when I'm watching it or when I'm there, I see it. And for the longest time, I would say to Melody and Martell, like, get back together. Like, let's figure this out. And at one point, I also realized that may be insensitive, because a lot of hurtful things have happened. But you just can't deny that at one point in time, they were soulmates.
You know, I actually, in meeting Glenn and Letitia, I said that to them as soon as I sat down at the table. I had to apologize to her later, because I had to realize, then watching her throughout the day, the feelings that what she was going through. And I was like, I have to apologize, because I felt like that was insensitive when I said it, but it was almost like, I can't deny what I'm seeing though. Like, the chemistry was real. That's why I think like their situation on Belle Collective is like, it hits in a way that is reminiscent of not only Melody and Martell, but also Letitia and Marceau.
Yes, yes, yes. It's a woman who is fighting for her own identity outside the marriage and wanting to be a career woman and wanting to have a voice in her marriage, but also just a voice in her life, right? Outside of just being this homemaker who caters to her son and her husband, which is Glenn. So I do see the comparisons with Letitia for sure. And I have a very, very soft spot for Letitia because I feel like she reminds me of a lot of women who wanted to find their voice and wanted to have a life outside of being a wife and a mother. And Letitia Pearson, both named Tisha, and Letitia Pearson also has that quality. But you're right, her and Glenn are soulmates. And when they're around each other, you see it. You see the love, you see the magic. And we just taped our reunion, and I went on record saying this, and I'll say it again, is one of the best reunions I've ever had in my career because it's full of emotion and intensity, but it's also funny. And I think when you watch the Bells, the reason why a lot of people are so into this season is because of two things to me. You can smell and taste how real their stories are and what they're going through is so real, and you can just see it through the screen. In addition to that, I think those women are hilarious. I saw your Instagram story today when you posted again Latrice and Essie. Again, I want people to know that the one trick pony side of reality TV for some producers is to constantly have them fight and argue and whatever. And I think what's missing from reality TV is don't underestimate the fun shade.
Not at all. Listen, I say to me, that is when I look at reality TV, that is the perfect scene, especially for a show with an ensemble cast. The way it started, the gentle, sweet, and then the shade of it all. It was so southern. It gave me Blanche Devereaux. You know what I'm saying? That's the feeling I got from it. And then to see them also get to a resolve towards the end of the scene, I was like, to me, this is what reality TV is supposed to be because there is conflict, but there is resolution at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah, and it's so southern and fun. And listen. I just have to say, thanks to you, you were one of the few people since season one who was like, no, this show is good. And y'all ain't watching it. Y'all need to watch this show. It's good. And you were also honest. I remember your early reviews. You were like, something's a little. I'm tired of the bundle gate. I'm kind of over it, but I see potential. And then when the show had its 2-part reunion, everybody was like, oh, wait, okay, I get it. And then we had a hiatus, and y'all were so mad, and I did plenty of interviews with you, and you was like, when is Belle Collective coming back? And I'll be honest with you, at that point in our conversation, I really didn't know.
Really?
It was up in the air.
It's a shock to me that wasn't like a green light.
Yeah, it took, you know what it is? A lot of new shows takes a minute to find its footing.
Yeah.
And I give no one the credit except the network. The network believed in the show and they wanted to make sure that the show had the potential that I saw. And again, I give all the props to the network because they are the reasons why the show had life again. And those women, when they were given another chance, they grabbed that shit by the horns, pun intended, because Belle's horn, yeah. And they rang that shit. I am obsessed with the Belle Collective cast. The husbands too. I think when you see the reunion, Richie, the husbands are as much of a star as the women. I love that show.
I said that. I said, you honestly, I told them, and I said, y'all have the perfect cast at this point. It is literally perfect. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like a season 1, you can kind of like, okay, like what's working and what's not. Then season 2 with these 2 new additions and then their husbands too, I was like, oh, this is everything right here.
Everything. So I say all that to say sometimes a first season show just takes a minute. It takes a groove to find its beat. And listen, I know people are gonna shade me because they'll say, well, you said the Real Housewives of Dubai was bye-bye and they're in the first season. And you are absolutely right. I never said don't watch it. I said based on my feelings, what makes that show not interesting to me, where I just felt the cast overacted. But clearly they're getting a second season. And I'm hoping that the Dubai women make sure that they represent themselves versus trying to be the next Phaedra, Nene. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Do you think that Phaedra should go to that show?
You know what's so interesting? I will say this. I don't believe in, I call it stunt casting. When you bring someone on a show because they have a fan base, but they don't make it doesn't make sense for them to be in the show. So, for example, Monique Samuels. That's like me taking Monique and putting her in Huntsville. It's like, girl, you tried it. So it made sense that Monique's on Love and Marriage DC because she lives in DC. She's married. She has these friends. So that wasn't stunt casting, right? Phaedra being a part of Dubai when she's a Georgia peach, to me, feels odd. So one thing that I love about the franchise is each city represents that town. Beverly Hills represents the 90210 like a motherfucker. The New York women represent the New York women. Atlanta is for sure Atlanta. And Orange County is Orange County. So when it comes to Dubai, I want to see, like, were you born and raised there? Bring the city backdrop to me. I want to feel it. Again, Huntsville. Those people are so Huntsville, Alabama. You can smell it through the screen. You can smell Jackson, Mississippi through the screen of Belle Collective. So I just don't believe you should join a show because you have a familiar face. And I think, to me, when you do that, it doesn't work.
I would agree. And I want, since you brought this up, will we be getting a season 2?
Yes. So one thing you know about me, Richie, I say this to you all the time. One thing I don't like about my job is I'm not allowed to tell you guys when a season 2 or 3 or 5 or 11 is happening. What I will say is Love and Marriage DC was a hit. Thanks to the audience, thanks to the viewers, and thanks to the haters. I didn't realize Monique had so many haters until the show started. Like, all of those like Monique, because you know the Bravo Housewives fan base, and I know this being a part of Atlanta for so long. Some of them are a little, so they brought that fan base toxic environment to the show, and I was like, ooh, we don't do this for Love and Marriage, baby. We have our own situation. But at the end of the day, the show did very well. Thank you to the audience. And I believe that because the show did well, you know, we want to see more of the Silvas, Tylers, and Samuels, and, you know, Winter, right?
We do indeed. You know what else we want to see more of?
Tell me. I was not expecting that.
Oh, I'm ready today, babe. I am ready today.
You are sitting already, literally. Hey, Blueprint.
Hey, Blueprint.
Yeah. Ask me anything. I'll tell you everything, boo.
Encore season 2. What's popping? What's good? What's going on?
Encore is another show that was also a huge hit for BET. So when you have a huge hit, you know, you definitely want to see it again. And look, we'll see what happens. I was disappointed that Blueprint wasn't able to truly give the fans all that I saw in them. I mean, to have an LP that skyrocketed to #1, knocking off Nas and Her, right? Based on a reality show, since people love to say, yeah, based on a reality show. And the music was fantastic and the performances were great. And one thing about me, I just believe in greatness. And I felt that that group had potential. And I said this to them, just so you know. I said, y'all could be like the next Destiny Child if y'all play this right. And they all laughed at me. And I said, oh, y'all can laugh if y'all want to. I have vision. I said, if y'all play this right, y'all can be big. Y'all can truly be big. And it's their story to tell in terms of what happened to the group. But I will say it's sad because I'm going to be honest, they left a lot of money on the floor.
I agree 100%. Like, people were bumping that album. And at that point, I can tell you, even though it was the 4 of them left, I mean, 3 of them were so polarizing for the audience. And then
Who? Tell me who.
Everybody except Shamari.
You know what?
Everybody except Shamari. See, Shamari had a likable personality. I mean, she was just kind of like chill, go with the flow. I'm here to sing, and that's it. Okay. But the other 3, they gave us reality TV, okay, that we didn't know we needed, right? But when you put it all together and you put that music together, I wanted to follow them in the way that I wanted to follow Danity Kane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I did too, which is why I created the show in the first place. And listen, one thing I will say, I know being on reality TV isn't for everybody. And I know that it takes a lot to be judged by the world when you're just being yourself. And I know how some people love to blame editing. But for me, yes, that's all. That goes to whoever y'all want it to go to. I always tell people when no one's talking about you, that's when you should be worried. And I'm not here to make anyone not be successful. I create shows for them to be successful. And I do get upset when I see people not taking advantage of the doors that I've opened for them, and to have a sense of gratitude and grace. And at the end of the day, one thing I tell people now, if you don't want to be a part of my shows, bye. I have way too many people knocking on my door in my DMs because they know when you work with Carlos King, you actually have a brand that's going to skyrocket if you know how to play the game right. So when you see someone like Melody Holt, Marceau Scott, okay, who are 2 polarizing figures and who understands the assignment. Melody is a hugely successful recording artist, entrepreneur, beauty mogul. Marceau has not one of, he has the #1 nightclub spot in all of Alabama. And Marceau literally tells us all the time, keep filming me. I don't care. Marceau is like, what do I want me to talk about? Another allegation of me cheating? Okay, I'll talk. Marceau is the best at I don't care, because he sees how the line is wrapped around his club, because he knows that, oh, I want y'all to constantly talk about me. Melody has the same thing where, no, keep doing it. And one thing one thing Mel and Marceau does that's hilarious to me, they would comment back to a fan, and I'd be like, what are y'all doing? The engagement helps them, and I want that for anybody who works with me. And when it comes to the Encore, we'll see what happens, but my goal is to always provide a platform for people to win. And it does upset me when I see that, ooh, y'all left so much money on the table, period.
You mentioned something I was going to ask you about earlier. Do you ever have to step in and stop cast members from beefing with each other or with fans online?
When they, I'll be honest, I do it if I feel like they're going too far with each other.
Okay.
I've never had an experience where a cast member went too far with the fan because I think they know the line, you know. And one thing I know, Marcel likes it. He gets a kick out of it. So he doesn't. They're not mean to each other. I'm sorry, they're not mean to the fans, which is what I love. They just want to have fun with them. So that's great. Now, when it comes to each other, I let it rock for a minute. You know, I sit back and I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, it's fine, it's fine. And then if I see that it's going too far, I'll make a phone call, and I had to do this 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
I had to make a phone call and say, enough is enough. Stop. And I mean it. Stop. Stop. And 9 times out of 10, they do. Every once in a while, very rare, but every once in a while, they may continue, because it's like having children. You may tell a kid, like, I told you to stop that shit, right? And they'll do it. But then when you turn your back, they'll do this. You know what I mean? Like, they make well, that happens. I'm like, stop posting. Okay, I'm sorry, I won't do it again. And then the next day, they'll post something. That was it, Carlos. That was it. I promise you that was it. Like, so, yes, I have to when I feel like it's going too far. Yes.
Okay. I won't ask you about who that was, but I can take it.
It's painfully obvious.
Okay, it was. Okay. I want to get your hot takes on a couple of things before we go.
Okay.
Real quick. Okay. So, She by Sheree, the fashion show, and then the whole disappearance of the site thereafter. Thoughts?
So I was at the She by Sheree fashion show. Sheree and I are extremely good friends. And I left the show after season 9. So for those 5 years, I've been asked about other housewives. Can you come to my event? Can you? I'm inviting you to. Girl, no. If it's cameras, I'm not doing it. Because it's Sheree and it was She by Sheree, I was like, oh my God, I can't say no to her. And my producer friend was like, you're coming? And I'm like, I know, right? So I was there. The fashion show, Richie, was spectacular. I was so proud of her. I still am. But I'm very honest.
Spectacular.
Oh, it was fantastic.
It was amazing. I saw pieces that I wanted.
Me too. So I am going to be honest. So I like to watch, you know this, Richie. I like to watch shows with the audience, right? So when the episode went off, I was on SheBySheree.com like, oh my gosh, my girl did it. And I had my black card ready. Okay. So for me, I'm still a viewer and a fan.
Right.
You know, despite my success. So I was disappointed, like, bitch, I'm trying to buy some She by Sheree joggers. So then it hit me, maybe the next day, because I'm not gonna lie, I was like, no, Sheree, I want you to win. The next day is when it hit me. I said, Sheree is so fucking iconic that no matter what she does, it's always the top news story. And I now look at her, which is why she was on my top 10 greatest housewives list. When you think about Chateau Sheree and how long that took, and now we all are gagging and have to admit that Sheree has one of the best homes on Bravo. She by Sheree, we waited for 14 years. The website crashed. One thing we do know, websites do crash with high demand. We know that with Kylie Jenner, Kim Kardashian, it happens. So now that people are like, well, it's too expensive, I will say this. At the end of the day, it goes to show you, no matter what this woman does, to me, it's super iconic. And although I know the website is still not available,
I ain't gonna pull it up right now. I was going to.
Oh, listen, it's you, so do what you want. But I know that I know this because I'm cool with Sheree. Sheree is always going to figure it out. It may take a day late. She's going to figure it out and she's going to win. And I am going to now say this, and y'all can read me if y'all want to. That probably was the best thing to happen to her, only because you can't buy anticipation. And one thing I've learned watching the Kardashians continuously win is the buildup of anticipation. And people are going to say, well, Carlos, at least they shit's available. And you're right. But don't sleep on what Sheree's working on. And that's all I'll say with that. Like, I know her so well that this is not the end of her, nor she by Sheree. And last but not least, because Sheree hasn't said anything to y'all or to me, because I haven't called her yet, because I don't want to bother her. I know my girl is cooking something up, and I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. I'm gonna leave it at that, and we go, because here's the thing: we all want She by Sheree to win as well. Okay,
that's true.
So I think it was more of a disappointment for people because everybody was ready for it. You know what I'm saying? Like we have been rooting for her. But speaking of Sheree, my other hot take that I have to ask you is Martell and Sheree a real thing?
Yes, they are. They are a real thing. I knew about it a month before it became public. When I first learned about it, it was through a mutual friend who's in the business. And I was like, child, please, like, whatever. I literally was driving to the airport and I had to pull over because I was gagging. And I was like, whatever. Because I'm close to Sheree. Me and Sheree talk regularly, like me and Kenya. And I'm like, she would have told me, it ain't that serious. And then the next week, my boy was like, she's in Huntsville. I said, wait, what? So a week after that, I called Martell because he's always in trouble with me. Because Martell is
Martell.
Martell is my oldest child that I have to always yell at. So I called Martell. He said, before you yell at me, somebody wants to say hi to you. Hi, Carlos. And I know Sheree's voice. I said, bitch, Sheree? I said, bitch, are you, what? I said, I can't even react to you right now because I got to cuss him out really fast. I said, so I'm going to call you back. And she started laughing and I cussed him out. Then I called her and we had a deep conversation. So long story short, it is real. It's real. Okay. It's not a publicity stunt that people are trying to make it out to be. And you have to know Sheree to know that she doesn't do stunts. And I'm saying that because she never shied away from what was happening in her life that would make her get judged. She showed you guys how she had to leave her mansion in the earlier seasons and downsize. She showed you guys the issue she was going with Bob. She showed you guys Chateau Sheree and how that was just a messed up situation for her. And she showed you guys that I'm dating somebody who's in prison and I love him. Like, and I knew about Tyrone. And I'm happy that people now flash back to that epic scene between her and Nene during season 4, where they had that argument over the phone about
it took me a minute to realize that's the same Tyrone.
That's the same Tyrone. So I'm telling you guys, I've known about this since season 4, that was Sheree's boo thing. But Sheree is very private. So when she decided to come back to Housewives, this is what I love about Sheree, and a lot of new reality stars can take note, especially you new peach holders. Sheree gives you the real because she doesn't care what y'all think about her. I promise you, Sheree Whitfield gives no fucks what y'all think. And one thing she does better than half, let me not lie. One thing Sheree does better than more than half of that current cast, she gives you the real because she doesn't care about what y'all think. And Martell is real.
Okay. Well, listen, I'm not mad at it. They look good together. That's what I can tell you. On the photograph, they look good together.
Yes.
Another hot take. Y'all are two of my favorite people, but there is an internet thing with you and Candy. And I say internet thing because the perception is that you guys are not cool or you don't mess with each other. What is the deal with that?
It's funny because a lot of people think we have this beef, and I'm vegan, so I don't have beef with anybody or my meals. So that's just I don't have beef with anybody. I really don't. I'm not somebody who does. So I know that two things are happening, right? One thing about me having this podcast, like I said to you earlier, I speak my mind based on what I'm watching on these shows and based on my expert and professional opinion on things because I'm in the business. So when I give my opinion, or should I say facts about people, a lot of people love to create this perception that I'm a hater and that I'm a Candy hater. And what's so funny about that is I would pay somebody $1 million if they could find one negative thing I said about her. I don't talk about her in a negative light. I just don't, because there's nothing for me to say about her that's negative. Let me just start there. So when she went on her YouTube channel and was responding to people's questions on the comments, and they asked her if she and I had a relationship, and she was like, she made that face and voice. I wasn't offended by it. The thing is this, I'm not on the show anymore. I left the show. And people can create their own ideas as to why she's made that comment. But at the end of the day, I saw Candy at the She by Sheree fashion show, gave her a hug, told her how proud I was of her. Me and Ty had a great conversation about the Encore. I'm like, do you like the show? You good with it? I am so blessed in my life that I'm like, Sheree, I don't give a fuck what people think. So if you guys want to make up rumors that, oh, she hates some because of this happened in season 9, which I will never talk about again because I've talked about it a lot of times, and it's in Dave Quinn's book. Reading is fundamental, and people don't like to read. And
that book is so good.
It's really good, but people don't like to read. And I know that at the end of the day, I have nothing but love for Candy. She's an icon. She's a legend. She is the first Black woman to win ASCAP Songwriter of the Year. She is a girl group member. Y'all know I love girl groups. I don't have a problem with her. I will never have a problem with her. And based on her saying that we don't have a relationship, I don't have a relationship with a lot of people. I don't have relationships with tons of housewives. I don't have relationships with people who I don't work with anymore. But I don't understand why when it comes to, and I think it's so interesting, Richie, when it comes to she and I, people are so obsessed with it. And guess what? Y'all can keep talking about it, but just make sure you subscribe to my podcast because I'm going to keep talking about my
Okay, I had told him previously I had to ask him about that because that was something that kept coming up, y'all. So I got 2 more hot takes.
Yeah, and I will say this, now that I've answered it, so all the people who will interview me, because one thing about me, you know this, Richie, I only answer things once. I won't ever answer that question after this. I'm not going to answer a follow-up to other. Well, you said this on, nope, Richie got the exclusive roll tape.
Roll it back.
Roll it back.
Okay. Beverly Hills reunions filming today, allegedly. Diana allegedly is not there, and she is in Maui.
You said she's in hiding or that's where she's at, child.
Your take on what you would expect to see next season from Beverly Hills, because I know you also talk about this on on your podcast as well. So what's your general thought about it? Because people are really passionate about this season as well.
Yeah, Diana needs to go. That's number one. I feel like she joined the show because she's a rich white woman who was bored, and she felt that let me get on the show and have fun. And she realized, girl, this housewife fan base they don't let you have fun during the off season. They will dig everything up about you, sis. So buckle up. So, in the words of Nene Leakes, you never win when you play dirty. Like you joined this show, in my opinion, for fame because you need the money. And I know you're not invested in doing the show because you don't stay in the same hotel or houses as these women. You're always sick. You don't, oh, I couldn't show up to your event because I'm sick. Oh my God. Like you have so many excuses. Just admit you wanted to be famous and you thought doing this show would make you famous because you hang out with lots of famous people. And one thing I know, and y'all can, honey, this is tea. A lot of rich people want to be famous when they have a lot of famous friends. Because when you are around a famous person and there's lights, camera, action, and you look at them and you say, I got more money than this person. I just don't have the fame. And I think that's what Diana wanted. So bye, Diana. And I think at the end of the day, the show has to get back to holding everybody accountable and not picking sides. And one thing I don't like about some reality shows is when they have an alliance. This is not Survivor. It's not Big Brother or Celebrity Big Brother. Stop choosing alliances and start holding people accountable because I'm like that with you, Richie. You're like that with me. We're like that with our separate friend group. That's how real people talk. I can say something, you be like, I don't know, Los. I don't agree with you. not just sitting there like, ooh, let me escort Erica Jane out of the house because she's saying things I don't agree with, and I don't want her to get in trouble. It's like, no, bitch, say to her like Kyle did.
Right
Kyle
there.
like, no, stop saying that. I can't defend you. Now, look, Kyle, who you know I love, I am so disappointed in Kyle this season because as the force multiplier, it's your job to rally the girls and to hold all of them accountable. And I think because Kyle got read for filth by Erica Jane last season for not being supportive, Kyle is going out of her way to never say anything bad about Erica.
Yeah, but that's not how, that's not how real friendship groups work.
No, not at all.
So it's like, it's frustrating to watch. It's really, really frustrating to watch. So I'm glad I'm not the only person that feels like that, especially with you being someone who works in this space that you can see that. It's just like, what are we doing?
It's not fun to watch. But baby, when Erica Jane was going off on those girls, listen, regardless if you agree with her or not, and I watch TV for entertainment.
I already know. I said the same thing.
I'm not choosing it ain't my fight. I'm sorry, it's not my battle to fight. So I don't give it. That's not me. But baby, Erica, give me that Erica every day. Erica said, "You next." Boom.
She went around that room. Okay.
She said, Crystal, let's go. Garcelle, let's go. Who wants more? And that's why even Kyle, stop saying it. She said, I'm not. Give me that Erica Jane every day of the week. I love it. I want to see that every season, baby. Work, Erica Jane.
I like anybody that right, wrong, or never indifferent. You stand 10 toes down in what you believe, and we'll deal that's just how I feel like reality TV works best is when you stand in your convictions, right?
Ashley and Winter from Love and Marriage DC.
Stand in your convictions and do not back down.
Ashley Silva and Winter Williams from Love and Marriage DC. I watch those two together. I can watch Ashley and Winter all day long. Because at the end of the day, none of them go back down.
That was epic TV right there. I was like, the two of them are like fire and ice, and I don't know who's fire and I don't know who's ice on which day. But
it's Libra versus Scorpio. So to my casting producers and reality producers, always cast a Libra and a Scorpio. Dr. Heavenly and Mariah Hook, Melody and Letitia, Ashley Silva and winter. A Libra Scorpio dynamic is going to give you the best TV in the world. You're welcome.
Ooh,
Yes,
okay,
Richie.
okay. Casting T right there. I got one more hot take for you. Love and Marriage Atlanta.
That has been the most requested show that doesn't exist. That Richie, people have been begging me to do Love and Marriage Atlanta. And listen, I'm not ruling it out, but I will say this. I always felt like y'all ain't over Atlanta. Like y'all don't want to see some new people in new cities. When you look at Jackson, Mississippi, Huntsville, Alabama, I'm like, y'all don't want to see more places, but no, they want Love and Marriage Atlanta starring Nene Leakes, Phaedra, Portia. And for some reason, everybody feels like if a reality star, especially a housewife, is no longer on their show, that Carlos King needs to hire them because they saw what I did with Lisa Wu to Hollywood Divas, Claudia Jordan to the Next 15, and now Monique Samuels to Love and Marriage DC. So apparently, I'm the former housewife recruiter.
I will say this. Never mind on Love and Marriage Atlanta right now. I need you to go on down to Dallas, okay, and do something with Claudia Jordan. How about that? Go
How
there.
about that?
Go that now that I want to see.
I concur. I concur.
Okay. we gonna leave that hanging for right now, okay?
Okay.
The next time I talk to you and we revisit that topic, I'm not gonna let it go. Okay.
Oh, I know you're not. And clearly, we're gonna do this again when something else happens that you will get the exclusive of. So yeah, just let me know.
Ooh, we like the sound of that. Carlos, thank you so much for taking out some time to talk to us today. We have Love and Marriage Huntsville coming up on Saturday night at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
That's correct, on OWN. And then we have tonight, Friday night, Belle Collective at 9 p.m. on OWN. So you got
Akeisha versus Tambra. That's all I'm going to say.
And I'm thinking it's going to be Akeisha versus Letitia.
Yes, Letitia bowed out because Tambra stepped in, and the two homegirls from Jackson, Mississippi, who went to school together, have it out, baby. Tambra, Sheree, that radio voice went out the window, baby, and she gave you good old West Side of Jackson, honey.
So we got that to look forward to tonight. Carlos, anything else you can you want to promote before you go?
Yeah, listen, Reality with the King podcast. Please subscribe to it wherever you get your podcast. We launch episodes every Wednesday and Friday. And then you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at @TheCarlosKing_, and just keep supporting me. And I'll have more updates to give to Richie in the next couple of months.
Well, we will be on the lookout for that, Skye Squad. Y'all stay tuned to the channel and make sure you guys are paying attention to that podcast, because on Wednesdays and Fridays, when I get up at 7, I already know. I ain't even waiting. Go on over to his Instagram page and hop on into that podcast, okay? Because you know it's gonna be something juicy.
Yes.
Carlos, thank you so much. Skye Squad, thank you for watching, and we will see y'all tonight at 9 p.m. on OWN, and then tomorrow night at 8 p.m. on OWN. 2 nights back to back. Get your weekends ready with OWN, and we will catch you guys in the next video.
See y'all.